Welcome. We are working on our album from Prima using their Bewitched collection. We've already done the front, the back, and the sides. We've set our ribbon. Now what we're going to be working on is this left inside panel. I'm using this piece here. The back side of it has the book pages. This is going to measure at 8.5 inches across by 8 7/8 in the height. Now we're going to get to the book page. The other book page that you have in your collection, I took and I cut the book page out, and then I cut up the center so I could separate these two halves. Then I laid it against some black cardstock, scored the center, and then hand trimmed around. So it's kind of a rough cut, but I'm okay with it. And then I took the surviving piece and I hand trimmed out another piece that would then fit the front of this. And then on the back side of this, I'm running some tape. So when this goes down, this becomes a pocket. Excuse me. I think I inked that. And then I'm taking some black bling. And I'm going to run it up along this edge here. And then I have taken this out of the sheet, that 12 by 12 sheet that has all the emblems on it. I guess that's what I'm going to call them because there's really no title on this page. All right. And then down below, I cut out one of the frames, and I've already glued down my bling because I was trying to do it as a test run. So I'm centering it, and I'm putting 2 orange pieces, and then I'm finishing off the rest. And that's going to go down here as a pocket, and then I cut another one of the frames so that that will sit right in there. And then I think that pretty much covers this. So let's go ahead and let's get this started. But one thing I do need to do is because I've already glued this, I didn't know what I was going to do with it, so I glued it. But I don't want it flapping open, so I am going to put some magnets in place. And I will have to put this one on the back side when I'm done because I don't want it to interfere with things that are being tucked in here. So this will go on the back side of this sheet. Ideally, it should have gone underneath this piece. Got it? So if you can trim this out, then set your magnets on this side, or you can do both of them internally. But again, I wasn't quite sure how this was going to turn out, so I did it this way. All right. I am going to pull this all off. I'm going to get this piece on there. Now, if you don't want to hand trim and you don't want this to look this way, your out, if you will, is just go in and just make some straight cuts. And then straight cut your black cardstock. You may want to come in and cut a V, or you're going to have quite a dark spot here. Cut your V. Score your line, and then you can make your booklet out of it. So I'm going to come about a 1/4 inch away from this edge, and I'm going to try and balance top to bottom, considering that I have an arch there. Just let it find its mate. Okay, now I think I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece on. I have certainly got enough of this one piece that if I needed to go in and change it, I can. I can tear out my magnets. I'm not going to worry about them right now. And then I'm going to take some skinny tape . And then we're going to glue this into the top. And then I cut out the straight framed, so the black cardstock that I framed in around it came in at 3 7/8 by just say 2 7/8. It's kind of in the middle, but I'd rather go bigger, have you go bigger than smaller. And again, I'm using some skinny tape because I want to maximize the pocket as much as possible. We're going to come right down here. And then that's going to sit right in there. So that has this piece done. Now let's get to our panel pieces. I am rounding a small rounded on the corners. And your first piece, which will be on your right hand side, is going to come in at 5 3/8. You will do a 1/2 inch score and a 5/8 of an inch score. You will come up to that 1/2 inch score line. And lay that over. Okay. On the left side panel, it is going to measure in at 6 inches across by your 8 7/8 in your height. And again, we're going to come right up to the 1/2 inch score line. I want that hinge that we're creating on the top of this signature, not on the edge. All right. I'm going to push back and reinforce that 5/8 score line. Okay. Now the piece I cut for the front is this piece. Now, on the 12 by 12, it looked like this. So what I did was I measured for this, and then I cut straight up because I wanted to save the moon. I wanted the moon to come in on this side. So then, once I cut straight up, I made my tick marks. I cut the top off here, and I cut the bottom piece off here. And then that gives you the moon centered on this. And then I'm going to put on the piece that lays over, I'm going to be putting some bling. And then I need to put some magnets in here before we do anything. Okay. Just a little bit of tape on the back side of this. Fold over those edges. Okay, make sure your hinges are straight, that you're level top and bottom. Then you can set your magnet. Okay, this one I can glue down. Oh, and by the way, I know you can't see it, but I did Wink a Stella on the lantern. And here where you see the yellow highlight from the candle, I put some Wink a Stella right there as well. This will go here. Let me double verify my width on this. It is so hard to see black on black. It really, at least for me it is. Okay, so that's there. All right, very good. This lovely. We're going to get to play with that. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to approach it. Now, I always get asked, where do I get my bling? I get it on Amazon, and it comes in a big roll. I mean, a big roll. It's about that big around and about that tall. Well, this will give you an idea. I just cut one strip off of this. So this is as tall as it is, but it's pretty darn round. But just Google or search on Amazon for black bling on a roll, and you will find it. Okay, this is getting taped. Okay, so this is your front. Now, you have a magnet sitting right here. We could make a pocket and put it down here so that it dresses this up a little bit. But I want you to keep in mind that you can't put anything permanent in here because you've got a magnet. The more layers you put over a magnet, I don't care how strong, it loses its efficiency in making the connection to its partner. So we'll come back and do that. I want to finish this up. All right, so we're going to play with this piece. On the reverse side is this pattern. We're going to cut it to fit both sides. So this helps to pull in the floral that we have here. And I am going to glue this down. Mindful of your score line there. Just sneak up to it, but don't get on top of it. Okay, I'm going to close this so I can get over here and do this, and I need to tape it. This paper, unlike other paper, has a kind of a waxy feel to it. So it slides around on the cardstock very easily. All right, now, on these pages, we're going to make some corner pockets. So you're going to cut a piece that's going to be 3 by 3 square. You will cut it on the diagonal, and then if you're rounding your corners, round your corner. And then this is going to sit right down here, and its partner will be over here on the right side, but we're going to put this together first. Using some really thin tape, like 1/8 of an inch. Tuck this down here in this corner. And then I cut this piece, and you'll do 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 square. Cut it on the diagonal. Round your corner, and then your piece will fit right in there. And I got this out of my scraps. I go to my scraps a lot. Saves from cutting into fresh paper, just to do something tiny like this. Now, from the scraps, there were 2 strips that had these black flowers on them. I fussy cut around them, and we're going to adhere them down here in this bottom corner. And what I did with one was that I trimmed it so that it would fit this. And then I took the partner and I lined it up and I penciled around it so that I could cut out so that these two would match as closely as possible. And I chose this color because I didn't want a competing background, because you're going to see parts of this, just so that you kind of understand why I chose this pink, purplish pink. Okay, so there you have it. We have this, and then we've got a nice pocket right here. Your tucks. Let's do this. All right, so from the outer edge, because I'm really liking the idea of putting in, so we're going to cut a piece that's going to trim out at, I'm going to call it at 4 7/8 in the width, but I'm only going to go 2 inches tall. And probably the better way, because it's right smack in between, just come in here, make your pencil mark right there on the edge, trim it. Oh, and then I don't want this any taller than 2 inches. And because we want to play with as much of this pocket as possible, we need around a corner. We're going to use thin tape. It's important to line up to the arch first and then come out. If it ends up being off, you can always cut it here, but it's hard to cut here when you got a rounded corner. Okay, but we're good to go. Now, in our scraps, I was eyeballing this. Even though this pattern runs this way, the floral spray can be used like this. So I will cut right there and right there. And then I'm going to put this down here. And then I'm going to cut here off the bottom. Make sure I'm even. And that helps to get rid of some of the eyes on the ghosts. Okay. There we go. Now, finishing touch. Oh, that's going to be just perfect. We're going to put some bling on this. Now, this bling that I'm using, because you're cutting it in between rows, this is held together with some stitching, a mesh stitching. Well, unless you want to sit and fussy cut off all these little edges, I'm leaving them because they kind of remind me of spiders, even though I have a thing about spiders. This imagery doesn't bother me so much. Okay, so now we have a nice little pocket right there. It accents and pulls in very nicely, so we are done. Let's go ahead, turn it over, and let's put some tape on the back side of this so that we can get this put in our album. Now I should have a roll of, that's not it, where is it? Okay, well this is a little bigger than I want, but I'll use it. This is 1 inch. It will definitely stay down in the album, that's for sure. But I am still going to add my center supports. Alrighty, so when you put this in here, this is going to set in just like this. Now this piece is going to be taller than anything we build until we get to the back page, and the reason is I am trying to hide this edge off of this piece, both the top and the bottom. I don't like that look when you're looking at something and you can see the cut edge of a piece. So understand that these will be taller, the front and back panels, than our internal panels, okay? All right, well, let's get this peeled apart here. I'm going to come right to the edge. Make sure I'm covering top to bottom. Oh, well, was not intended. It decided it was going to tear off my piece there. All right, let's get inside and we're going to burnish. I think I'm going to open this, will be easier. There we go. We're all done. So you got a nice pocket here. You've got a pocket here. So you can stick some things in there. We've got tucks down here. A pocket on the front, and we're done. All right. I'll see you when we come back for this one. Until then, bye-bye.